And I'm back and I'm here. And it's weird being back after 3 months of not doing any videos and not doing any live streams. And I'm going to get into that. I'm going to wait a little bit as more people come in. It's great to be here. Welcome to the Foxhole. I'm Nandor Fox Shaffer. And while my setup looks exactly like it always has. This is a completely different room, and so I'll get into that more as people come in. But let me know if you're here. Let me know if you're watching, where you're watching from. Streaming live on YouTube, Foxhole Comics YouTube channel, my Facebook and Twitter. Let me know if you're watching. Let me know if you're tuning in. This is going to be a fun time, and I'm really excited to talk and to hang out and to kind of catch up everyone on what's been going on in my life and in my work for just making comics and progress on things I've been working on. uh, Also, I want to talk about comics I've been reading, things I've been reading. Uh, Anything comic related, and anything that I think would be fun to talk about. So this is really a I named this the 2021 retrospective and what's ahead. So that's what this is going to be about, kind of looking at what 2021 was for me, and what 2022 has in store, and some of the things that I'm excited to talk about, and things I've been just looking at this year. So in my career and in comics, and having a good time and hanging out with people that I haven't probably spoken to in a bit. And I've been kind of MIA for a couple months on this channel and just in live streams in general. So it's good to be here. I got Doc Diamond saying, "Hey there, hey Doc, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. If you're watching, please let me know if you're watching, and let me know if you miss me. Did you miss me, guys? um, and let me know what you've been up to, what's going on. Um, this is going to be a fun stream, very casual, very loose. I have a few things I want to talk about for sure, but we'll probably just be here for an hour or so. If anyone has anything they want to talk about or comment on or want to ask me about, definitely ask me questions during the stream, and let's communicate. Let's have a good time, and let's talk comics and talk about things you might be working on or things that are going on. And so yeah, this is going to be just kind of a refresh, and looking at 2022 and kind of explaining why I haven't posted anything and things I'd like to do with this channel, and all of that moving forward. So first, the first thing I want to talk about um, is what I did today. And today was a really cool day. It was a lot of fun. And the reason why is because I did a signing. I did my second signing of the year, um, and at Distant Planet Comics and Collectibles. It's a local shop of mine. And it was really fun. It went really well. Met a lot of great people. Sold a good amount of books for the amount of time that I was there. So I was really happy about that. It's always good when you go to a signing and there are people that are there for you, but also that just stumble in and they see what you're doing and they're excited and they want to buy your books and buy into invest into what you're doing. And that's always been one of my favorite parts about doing signings and about going to different shops. And doing book signings is a lot different than, maybe not a lot different, but different enough from doing conventions, because you're a little more unsure about what the day will bring and if people are going to be coming into the store. Um, and so, depending on which store you go to, what day it is, if people are looking to spend stuff, when people go to conventions, they're really looking to spend money. And when people go to the store, sure, but it's a little different because people are going to comic book stores or bookstores looking for a particular thing, most likely, and they see you and they're like, "Oh, what's this?" And do they want to spend money on what you have to offer and the books that you have? So that's always a little bit of a risk. You're kind of risking your time to see if anyone will show up and if it's worth your time doing signings. But it's worth your time just to make connections with local stores. Uh, and you never know, even if you just sell one or two books, which thankfully I did not. I sold a lot more than that. um, you know that story or that book you have or whatever product that you have, could impact that person. And, I had a lot of people come up to me and they were just really impressed that someone local in their town, in their area, was making comics and is doing what I'm doing. And that's always a really encouraging compliment and just encouragement to me because depending on where you live, I live in a small area. Um, you can have an impact on your community and creatively have an impact. I had a news article featured of me in the newspaper recently. I actually need to pull that up. But before I do that, this was my setup for today at Distant Planet Comics and Collectibles. So they provided the table and that really nice looking chair, and it turned out really well. I'm really happy with just the setup there, and it seemed to catch people's attention. And doing enough shows that I've done and enough signings that I've done, um, I can set up pretty quickly now. So I'm pretty happy about that. I kind of know what I want to do, and um, how I want the layout to look. But and I featured some original art there from Tony Harris, and then behind that was actually the Tom Riley original art. So people could look at that, and I could kind of tease Manchild more. And I was telling people about that coming out. But this signing here. So I did, like I said, this was my second one, and I did one about a month or so ago. Uh, at another comic book store, Capital City Comics, and um, I did that one there, and that was the first signing I did of the year because um, it, basically I'll give you guys a timeline here. After Manchild funded, I was still waiting for a lot of the books. So Manchild issue one, I was still waiting for a lot of the books for Seasons Volume 2 to come in, and I didn't want to do any signings or anything like that before I got the backers their books. So it was important that I tried to fulfill all of that before I started doing signings because I could have started doing them in uh, September or like August, but I waited and waited because I wanted the backers to get their books first. Let me see if I can pull up this article that was in the paper. But, so I really wanted to make sure that all the backers got their books, and it took a lot of time and energy, to ship all those books and to prep them and get them all out to backers. So, but Seasons Volume 2 is 100% fulfilled, on Kickstarter and Indiegogo, so that is completely done, and that was a huge relief off my shoulders, getting all of that fulfilled. I bagged and, boarded every comic, I shipped every comic, it was all me, so one man army here in doing that, and, um, getting it all shipped was definitely stressful, especially because, and I'll get into this more because I was moving at the same time. So I was shipping all these books and packaging all these books as I was moving out of my old apartment. So there was a lot of cardboard around, just around everywhere, around the apartment, in my car, anywhere I just had a ton of cardboard. But so yeah, this was my setup today, and it was a great signing, great time. I met a lot of great people, and some people that were discovering seasons for the first time and Lifeline. I Since Seasons Volume 2 is my latest book, I really wanted people to pick that one up. And they did, but of course, they want to start with Volume 1, so some people just bought the first book. But I got a few people to buy both of them because I was letting them know, "Hey, this is my latest release, and Volume 2 is the book I'm most proud of so far." So, um, let me pull up, let's see here, the News Tribune article, the newspaper article. There, that's me. Um, and this is my local newspaper did a feature on me, a few weeks ago, and it was a really nice article. I talked with the journalist for almost 2 hours, and it was a ton of fun and really great to um, have your paper and your community want to feature you. They reached out to me, which is really flattering, and I have the physical paper too, so that's really neat. But this is just kind of recapping, things that have been going on in the past few months since I've been absent, and this was something that um, meant a lot to me, and to be able to, be featured here, and just kind of let everyone know that I'm still here. I'm still making comics. I'm still pursuing my passion, and this was a really really fun and satisfying uh, interview to have done. So I thank Leanne Perello for doing this and for putting this up, and for telling people about Foxhole Comics and my YouTube channel and what I'm doing. Um, this was really nice to do. We got Ichthus. What's up? Total excellence. Hey man, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. He says, "Welcome back, to glad to see you back doing content, updating us for your future projects." Hey, thank you, man. Glad to glad to be back, and thanks for tuning in. Um, I am happy to be back. I don't really feel like I had gone. I just wasn't making any videos. And um, it's difficult when you are a creator, at least for me, to create stories that I want to make and the comics I want to make. Um, at the same time, trying to keep people updated, and do a YouTube channel and do all this stuff. And so I guess I'll get into what's been going on. Why haven't I produced any thing? Why haven't I been on streams? All that stuff. I've been kind of silent when it comes to things I've been doing. I haven't really been promoting a lot. One reason is because, and this was something I noticed after the fact. I did need a break. I needed to focus more on um, the content itself rather than the output and how much I was putting out and promotion. So a lot of the reason I hadn't been really updating people was because after Manchild issue 1 funded, I was working with Jay and getting the layouts done and working on actually the creation of the first issue of Manchild, but also, and I'm still doing that right now, but also I was writing. I was finishing up the final issue of Manchild, and I was writing that, and that was a project and some, something that I couldn't allow any other distractions, and I couldn't like focus on YouTube or promotion or anything because this was the end of the series, it was the last issue, and I needed to write it, and I needed to only focus on writing it. I didn't need to think about other stuff because when you're trying to end a series and you're trying to end a storyline, if you don't land that ending, I wasn't going to risk not having that quality ending just because I was too busy doing other stuff. So that's a reason because that took up a lot of my time, and that was also a big relief. There were a lot of um, pressures that I had in the last few months when it comes to making indie comics. One was finishing Manchild, writing it, scripting it, making it as perfect as it could be, and the other was fulfilling Seasons Volume 2. Ichthus, if you're still watching, have you read Seasons yet? Have you checked it out? I know I sent out your packages, your package. So let me know if you've seen it, or if you plan on checking it out soon. I'd love to know your thoughts. That's something I want people to tell me. Tell me if you've read Seasons and your thoughts, and we can talk about Seasons and just what you think of it. If you've read it, if you're a backer and you read Seasons and you got your package, what did you think of it? How are you enjoying the series so far? And are you looking forward to Volume 3? And are you looking forward to Manchild and the other projects I'm doing? Definitely let me know. But yeah, so that's that. Those are two reasons that I haven't been producing content, is because one, I was fulfilling Seasons Volume 2, and then also I was finishing writing Manchild, and um, I get in a headspace where I can't really work on anything else, and I'm pretty focused on what I'm doing, and I just have to keep writing while I have that spark or that fire where I have to finish this and get this done. So everything else was off the table. Um, and the other reason, a big reason, was I moved. And so I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, you see my layout here, and it looks exactly the same. And I mimicked it pretty well. I got everything set up. I kind of knew, how everything should be. But I moved. I moved into a different apartment, and so there was a lot of packing going on. And I moved in September, right after Manchild issue 1, that campaign ended. And so I didn't have a lot of time to update people on progress because I was moving and I was packing. And there's just so many things that get in the way. And also, when I had moved, it took a while to unpack everything and get everything where I wanted it to be. Um, I wasn't very motivated because um, I just wanted to focus on fulfilling Seasons and writing more than unpacking my office and getting the YouTube setup where it needed to be. So, really, I just finished setting all this up about a couple weeks ago, and I moved in here in September. So, it was a few months before I got everything to where I wanted it to be. And also, it was, this is a different room. It's a little more narrower than my other place. So, I had to figure out how I could set this up and still, have the same setup, because I've gotten a lot of compliments and people like this. So I didn't want to disappoint people and kind of change it around. I wanted to uh, get it to where it was before, and I'm sure if you looked at my previous, videos, you probably can't tell much of a difference. So um, I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, that's the reason why you haven't seen any content from me is because of the move, fulfilling seasons, and writing man child. Um, and I appreciate everyone, checking in with me. I had a few people check in, and I've been watching a lot of streams still. I haven't been really interacting with a lot of people in the indie community, but I'm still here, and I'm still going to make content. And in 2022, I'd like to pick up the Art of Writing comic series that I was doing. Um, and I'd like to continue the comic book writers room streams that I was doing. Um, and it's all a matter of figuring out how to schedule those things right now. And this year I learned a lot about myself and my limits on stretching myself too thin, and it's important that I don't do that again. So looking at what I can do and my availability and the streams and the video content, um, I still want to keep uh, a consistent output. And that's something that I'm gonna work on to see what I can do. But priority is the writing, is the creating, and then it's the YouTube channel and the promotion. So I really have to make sure that what I'm putting out is worthy of being promoted. Because if it's not that good, why promote it? You could have the best marketing and promotion, but if I get your comic and it's not very good, then I'm not going to get the next one. See, Ichthus says, I haven't gotten the chance to sit down and read it yet. Happy to finally get my copies, seeing the final product and it being a hardcover and perfect bound. Awesome. Well, hey, I'm glad you got it, and I'm glad that um, they lived up to your expectation and presentation. I really wanted these books to be beautiful and look great together, and they do. I love how they look. I will never regret uh, the production and how hard we worked on producing Seasons Volume 2. And we haven't even Anthony and I haven't even sat down um, and streamed about the development hell that we went through and getting every all the files together. So that's something that we'll have to do, and that's something that I really I haven't been able to work with Anthony recently. He's been doing some other stuff, but we're still planning on working on Seasons Volume 3. That's something that will be coming out next year, um, and we're going to be seeing what we can do with that. And so everyone, uh, keep your eyes peeled for news on Seasons Volume 3 fall. Um, it's a big one. It's a big one. Shows how you want your product to not only look great, but the stories and art to bring people back for more. You are making the right steps in the long run. Thank you, thank you. I hope I am too. I'm glad it shows. I'm really glad it shows, and I want you to stick around just for as long as you can, because I got something I was gonna do in this stream was just kind of feature or show people other crowdfunded comics that I got this year. That was something I wanted to do, and I was looking at comics I had gotten. There's a few I wasn't able to get, but I'll mention one or two of them. But I'm gonna show off some of the crowdfunded comics I got, and I think you worked on one of them, so I'd like to show those off. Um, I don't think you did, but I'm just kind of being a little like hint hint. So let me think here. Where was I? So yeah, it's I wanted to update everyone on what 2021 was, what that this year has taught me, and what next year is going to be like, what I want to do for next year. And that was one of the big things I learned that I just kind of mentioned a few minutes ago was learning how to not stretch myself too thin and stress myself out, and um, putting out so much content um, in terms of YouTube and streams and stuff. I want to be a part of this community as much as I can be. But the creation of the product is like priority, so it's balancing that and also still trying to have a life at the same time, which is really difficult. So before I talk about man child, I want to so I mentioned the newspaper article. That was a highlight of this year, since I haven't posted anything that I wanted to talk to people about. And I also wanted to show off something that I did share on social media. So you probably have seen this, but I wanted to share the 2021 Indie Volt Comic Book Awards. Um, this is their website, and I wanted to let people know, if they hadn't heard, uh, that, and this happened in September, that Lifeline. Let me show real quick. So this book right here, Lifeline. This was the second book that I made, that I put out. It won. Get ready, guys. If you didn't already know this, it won the 2021 Indie Volt Comic Book Award for Best Writer, which I'm really happy about, and also for Best Comic. So the top award, Lifeline won Best Comic, and I won for Best Writer. So I wanted to thank again the Any Volt team, Varian Grant, Randy Zimmerman, Lola, all the judges, JD Calderon, and all the other judges that um, chose Lifeline as the best written comic and also the best comic of 2021. That, man, that was just uh, the best thing to hear, especially in a time where I was pretty stressed out with just moving and fulfilling seasons and working with Jay on Manchild and getting all of this taken care of. So, um, you know, that really helped encourage me to keep going and to see, fruit of your labor and see how um, what you're doing is resonating with audiences. And, that meant a lot to me to be able to win both of those awards. And I'm still waiting on the trophies. They're going to be sending the trophies still. So I'm going to put those up here, whenever I get them and feature them. I'll either have them on my shelf, but I'll probably have them up here maybe with Lifeline, and display that. And, to be an award winning comic book creator and writer is the most you could ask for, for people to recognize your work. That just is, it's everything. I can't put it into words as much as I'd like to, in the best way, but it really is everything. Like this says, congratulations, man. Thank you. Thank you so much. That means a lot. It really does. All right. So let's get into, well, before just another thing that I was working on that's sort of outside of comics. I wanted to talk about Manchild, but before I do that, all right, I want to encourage everyone. If you didn't know, I am a drummer in a band, and we came out with our first album, and I'm in this band with my brother. It's called Heroics, and the album is called Rollin' to Town. This was something else that happened while I've been, um, you know, AWOL in the YouTube indie comic book scene. We put out our first album, so it's on Spotify, it's on iTunes or Apple Music. Um, it's also on Pandora, Amazon Music, everywhere that you listen to music. Heroics Rollin' Town will be on there. So if you want to listen to the band I'm in and the music that I play, please support my band and my brother and the music that we're making. We've been working on this album for a very long time, especially my brother, and um, he put his heart and soul into this, and it really turned out to be a great quality production wise. It's a quality product, in terms of production and just the music and the songwriting and everything. And I can't recommend this enough. If you like indie rock, if you like the Killers, um, if you like Snow Patrol, if you like Bruce Springsteen, U2, Ryan Adams, any of those bands, then you're going to like our music. And if you just want to try something different, I'm the drummer in the band, so I play the drums. And so you'll hear me banging on those drums. Really great album. Really proud of it. And if you like music, you can stream it for free. If you want to buy it, please do. That supports us even better. But if you stream it, if you add it to your favorites, anything you can do to support my music and our music, that would be terrific. Okay, now let's talk some comics. Before we do, though, from award-winning writer to drummer for a band, that's quite character development arc. Yeah, there's a lot of things that happened this year, a lot of accomplishments, and um, this was a very tough year, just personally, with a lot of things going on. But um, things like this make it a little more bearable. Let's see here. All right. So let's talk Man-Child. Man-Child issue 1. So, I just updated, everyone on Kickstarter. Anyone who pledged, all the backers got this update, yesterday, I believe, or the day before. Um, and, um, so I wanted to explain a few things about kind of where we are with the first issue and show off, of course, some art and, talk about a few things with this comic. So, first of all, um, we are in the production stage right now still. And Jay Mazar is inking the first issue. He is finishing up the inks for the first issue of Manchild, and he should have that done very soon, within a week or so at the most. Um, that's the timeline that we're working with right now. And after that, he's going to color the book, and then we're going to send it off to DC Hopkins to letter it. And after that's done, we're going to send it to the printer, and I should have the books early next year, probably around April, is what I'm guessing. It's a few months later than I expected, and we might be able to get them sooner if Jay is able to get the art done faster. But he's been working hard. We spent a lot of time doing the layouts for the remaining pages of the first issue and getting it correct. And I think it's going to be, um, probably the strongest first issue that I've written. The beginning of a story arc. I'm really proud of it, and the art is going to be tremendous. Jay is just such a good artist, and I can't wait. I know I've said this so many times, but I can't wait for everyone to see how this issue is turning out. So this is a page. This is a digitally penciled page that Jay did, and here's another one here. And I can talk about what's going on in these. So, um, on the Kickstarter page, you notice that if you saw the preview pages, that Rufus works at a toy store, and this takes place a few pages before he gets the call that Stu Leeds has died. Um, so, a customer is coming up to return a toy he had bought, and Rufus is daydreaming, and all these line of people are waiting for him to stop daydreaming. And this is later in the scene here. I think it's I don't know if it's the next page or not, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But he's getting a call, and from his friends that Stu Leeds had died, but he can't take the call, so he keeps silencing his phone. This is a little sneak peek at an interaction that Rufus has with another character in the first issue, which I'll leave to be mysterious for now. Um, this is it's a really funny scene though, and I think very relatable for some people. Uh, this scene is from a page. These three panels. Rufus is playing a video game, and he's sitting in his man cave playing a video game, and then he falls asleep on his beanbag. So that was the beanbag was a suggestion that Jay had made. I had had him in like a lazy boy recliner, but Jay thought that it might be more of a humorous aspect to put a beanbag for him. So, and that gives you sort of that childlike vibe. Let's see. Have you put your writing to the test songwriting, and how was that experience within indie music scene? I've written songs before, and my brother and I have produced those songs, and they're out there. They're under a different band name, but when it comes to heroics and kind of the direction we're going with this band, my brother was the primary songwriter. Um, and he did all of it really. I mean, it's our band, but he puts in 90% of like everything when it comes to it. I'm more of the icing and more of the, texture to adding drums and adding my own flavor to the songs. But um, I have written songs before. I love songwriting. I love writing poems, poetry, uh, and things like that. And that's something I really enjoy doing. um, but I haven't written a song in a while, but I used to a lot. I used to write a lot of music with my brother. But as I got more serious into comics, I started to focus more on comics, and my brother is definitely more of the songwriter than I am. And he's incredibly talented. He can write a song in a matter, of a day or two, sometimes even quicker than that. See, his art really caught the golden age era. How did you find him? Yeah, Jay Mazar is incredible. I found him on a comics art forum, I think called Digital Webbing or something like that. And I reached out to him, and um, he we took a bit to agree on the contract and things like that, and the pay rate. But I was very persistent because he was working on other things, and he wasn't sure if doing a superhero book was his shtick, what he wanted to do. But I just said like you're the guy, like it's you. There's no one else that could really do this. And so he trusted me and going on this venture with me. But yeah, I just found him on an artist forum, and I'm so happy with him. He's been a really great collaborator, really good at communicating. So that makes me really happy, and that makes my job easier. Here's another page from Manchild. This is Rufus getting into an argument with another character that'll show up again in the series. They're in Uncle Chester's comic book shop, and I'll kind of point out. So he's this guy in between. I'll kind of zoom in here. This guy in between Rufus and this other character here is Chester. So he's the comic book store owner, and the shop is called Uncle Chester's. So that's kind of cool to finally see him. And they're in the comic book shop, and they're talking. And I won't go into the argument right now, or what's actually happening here. But this is Rufus and his friends, and Chester, and then another new character that will be recurring in the series. So um, keep an eye out for her and for these characters. Really like this page. I really like the layout and how everything turned out. So yeah, he's Jay is producing these pages for me right now, and he's inking them. And progress for Man-Child issue 1 is continuing. So have no fear if you're a backer and you were worried that there were no updates. Just a matter of all of uh, the hustle and all of the things that I've been working on kind of behind the scenes. So thank you for your patience, and thank you for hanging on there with me, and trusting me with your money to produce this comic. And I promise it's going to be definitely worth your while. And the series, never been prouder of anything that I've written, and I think you guys are going to really enjoy Man Child as it continues. And I hope to have issue 1 out early next year, and then issue 2 out later next year. Also, hopefully doing seasons volume 3 in between that if I can. Um, that's the main goal. I'm also writing something else right now. This is the first time I've ever talked about it, but as a comic book writer, you have to keep writing. I think it was the day after I already had this idea for a while, um, but I hadn't really pursued it that much. But I think it was the day or two after I had finished Man-Child issue 6, the final issue, and I started writing something else. If you're a writer out there, be satisfied with your work and be satisfied with what you've done, but continue to write and continue to create. Um, I would write down a few notes here and there. I wasn't scripting anything. I wasn't going all in and all serious, but I trying to keep the momentum and trying to keep um, it a part of my routine. And when you don't have a deadline and you don't have a schedule, it's really important for you to be disciplined to make your own schedule or make your own deadlines to be able to continue to create even though no one is motivating you. When you don't have money to motivate you and you don't have people around you that maybe are motivating you and it's just yourself, then um, you have to understand the long run, and that this is a long game and that it's a marathon and not a sprint, which is a very cliche statement, or at least I've heard it said a lot of times. But okay, so I've gotten through updating people on Man-Child, other things like that. Let me, while you're watching let me just kind of go through some crowdfunded comics, and things that I've really enjoyed reading this year. So let's start. Let's start here. And if you're watching, guys, comment in the chat. Let me know if you're tuning in. I understand it's later than usual, probably for some of you, and also, I haven't really been keeping up a consistent basis, so maybe some of you will catch this on the replay. But thanks for tuning in, guys, and thanks for watching. And so, yeah, let's show off. This was a book that I backed on Kickstarter by Lyndon White. He wrote it, drew it, colored it, everything. It's called Candles, and it's a fantasy story um, that takes place in this fantastical world where um, this this spellcaster and um, this other his like apprentice and then another girl are kind of wrapped up in this adventure where this mysterious adventure where this like evil witch this evil witch character is kind of taking the souls of other characters, or like their souls, or uh, their essence or what have you. And it turned out to be my favorite crowdfunded comic that I had bought this year. That I received in the mail. And it's a very thick, pretty thick graphic novel. Um, I think it's around 100 pages or more. Um, and it turned out to be very good. And Lyndon White, I want to support everything he does. He also has another book on Kickstarter right now. That's like a hardcover collection of, I think, two of his previous books that he's worked on. Uh, but Lyndon and I worked on Lifeline together. He provided chapter three. He drew chapter three of that book. Um, there's some really great splash pages in this. I'm trying to find some more here, but there's a really good twist in here too that I really enjoyed. So yeah, Candles by Lyndon White. Picked this up. It was my favorite comic, um, favorite indie comic, crowdfunded comic that I read this year, and um, it was such a blast. It's funny. It has a great set of characters. It's lighthearted as well, so it's not, it's age appropriate for everyone, I think. And it it's very the presentation and the feel and the sturdiness, uh this this looks better than some mainstream books in terms of the quality of it. And or it stacks up to there. It's nothing that you could, you look at it and there's nothing that says it's an indie comic, or you know however you want to take that. It looks professional, and it's a really good story. I really enjoyed it. So that was one, Candles by Lyndon White. Go find it. I think you can get it on his website or through Cast Iron Books. It was my favorite crowdfunded comic that I got this year. So good job, Lyndon. All right, Ichthus, if you're still watching, I just wanted to show off the Flock I got. I backed this on Kickstarter. The Flock issues one, two, and three. I read all these and they were fun to go through. And so, really good job on the color work. And I just wanted to let you know that I did purchase these and that I supported your work. And I really appreciate you supporting mine. And I wanted to do the same. So, Scott Wilson, Ichthus, and everyone that worked on this book. Um, I wanted to support you guys. And the turnaround time was great. I really enjoyed seeing what this was all about. So I'm looking forward to seeing what else you guys do. And you know, good job on the color work, Ichthus. I thought it was really good. Next, I haven't read all of these volumes yet, but I got Terra Olympus. I did read volume one, but I got Terra Olympus volumes one, two, and three from Stephen. Uh, Steven and Sean Keenan, and they're Australian creators. And they're this is a sci-fi graphic novel series. This is volumes one, two, and three, and I think they're each about 50 pages or so, maybe a little less. But it takes place kind of on this station called Terra Olympus, and Mia is this engineer, and there's sort of this, uh, you know, something awry is going on with, why they're in space, or maybe why they've left Earth, and it has this futuristic sci-fi um, kind of mystery angle to it, that kind of keeps you guessing. So I enjoyed volume one, and I'm looking forward to read volume two and three. And this was a really nice thing to get in the mail and to see. And it's well made as well. I really like the art. It's also black and white, so I have a thing for that because Seasons is black and white. So it was cool to see this work, and I'm looking forward to, reading more of it. Oh shoot! Thank you for backing the flock. I really appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, man. No problem. I saw your name attached to it, and I saw it was going to be on Kickstarter, and I wanted to back it on there. And uh, you know, you supported me, and it's the least I could do. And it was a great price, and no worries at all. I was happy to do it, and happy to support your work. All right. Also, I got Sever. This is the first issue here of Sever. I backed this on Kickstarter and got this, and I know it's Brian. I'm forgetting the last name. Let me see if I can see. Braden, not Brian, but Braden Cox. So Sever Part One by Braden Cox. This was um, cool to get. It came with a guitar pick, which is really cool too. Um, and I enjoyed this first issue, and I wanted to support your work too, Braden. So thank you for supporting mine. Um, I'm looking forward to see you where you take Sever, and had a pretty good cliffhanger there. So good job. I haven't read it yet. I really want to. I also got X Farce. By Don Chin. I'm looking forward to reading this. This is a parody comic of X Force, and I got this really sick cover by. Oh man, I can't believe I'm blanking on the name, but I really like this variant cover. This was my favorite cover for X Farce Reloaded. And so I'm looking forward to reading that, Don. Thanks for backing Manchild. And I'm looking forward to checking out X Farce. And I want to be on your show again, Comics and Coffee. We weren't able to do it last time because you were sick. So if you catch this, Don, and you're watching, let me know when we can talk again. I'm really proud of working on this book and many more adventures for Gooseman and Company. Coloring it was a blast and learned so much within the process. Awesome. That's great, man. I'm glad you're able to, be proud of it, and learning more about coloring and coloring a comic. I mean, it's on your resume. I mean, that's pretty cool, and um, I liked getting. We had talked before, and I was like, oh, I want to get something you've worked on, and I think that would be really awesome. So I was really happy to get that in, and I wish you guys the best with what you're doing with it. All right, so those were the crowdfunded comics that I got, and I also wanted to shout out Tragedy issue one by Phil Russert. Phil's been really good to me, and I didn't have the physical copy to get right away. I have it in one of my boxes, but I know he just funded Tragedy issue two on Kickstarter, and he's doing really cool things with that book. All the artists he's working with, his passion, his drive, him hitting 10K on both campaigns. I mean, that's amazing. That's really good. And so for someone to have, his first Kickstarter hit 10K and then his second Kickstarter also hit 10K, that's pretty amazing. So if you haven't checked out Tragedy by Phil Russert, um, please do. I think it's a really good story so far, and he's a really good supporter of indie comics. All right, I'm talking a lot, so my voice is like kind of wearing out here. Uh, thanks for everyone for watching and for tuning in. It's great to hang out and be with everyone here. If you're watching, please let me know you're watching, and let me know if you're excited about any other crowdfunded comics. What are some other comics from Kickstarter and Indiegogo that you've backed, that you've gotten this year? What have you enjoyed? Uh, Let me know, and I'd like to see what those are. Next, I wanted to talk about some comics, mainstream comics that I've been reading this year, and some kind of cool finds that I got. And just kind of talk about comics, have a good time. What are other comics that you've read this year that you've really enjoyed? I'm not going to go through everything I've read this year, talk about every series or whatnot. I'm just going to talk about some cool things that have happened in the last few months, and some stories I've read, and some cool finds that I got. So we're going to do that. First, I wanted to share here. I also shared this on social media. Let's see if I can prop this collector's item up. I'm really stoked about this. So I can get a good angle here. This is a comic book. If you're wondering what it is, or it looks very fancy. It has uh, a lot of bells and whistles to it. This is Earth X Graffiti Designs Edition. It's an oversized hardcover. This is my favorite comic book storyline. If you've never read it, it was published in, I think, 2001. Marvel Comics. Uh, Alex Ross is the really the originator of this project, along with Jim Kruger, who is one of the most underrated comic book writers. I think of the last decade. This is my favorite comic book story, and Jim Kruger wrote the script. And I don't think this story would be anything it is without Jim Kruger's words and his ability to write the Marvel characters just perfectly. Like, whoa. I found this at Half Price Books in St. Louis uh, last weekend, and um, it's uh, it's an incredible find, guys. And let me tell you about this. So there were only 6,000 of these made in the world, and I saw this. You said Ichthus here. He says, "Damn, that's a comic. I thought it was an unopened box toy." So that's the thing. I found this with the action figures, and I went over there and I was like, "What is this?" Oh, it says Earth X on the side. Like, oh, it looks like a book. Like, is this the Earth X storyline? Um, and so I opened it up, and it's in this, like, I guess they call it a clamshell. It's a plastic heart, like plastic casing that it's in, and I'm gonna be delicate with this, so apologies for how slow it might take me to bring this out here. I don't want to ruin anything. But yeah, so oh man, this is difficult. Let's see here. All right. So here it is. This is the oversized hardcover. It's basically sort of the size of an absolute edition from DC. If you have any absolute editions that DC Comics have made. But yeah, it says Earth X there, Ross, Kruger, Leon, Reinhold. Um, that's another thing about this book that's really special is that uh, John Paul Leon, who just passed away this year, um, he was the artist for this book, and this made me a lifelong fan of his work, along with the uh, Batman Creature of the Night he did with Kurt Busiek. Um, you know, some of the best comics you could ever absorb and intake. If you haven't read Earth X or Creature of the Night, do it ASAP. Go to your local comic book store, buy those books, order those books, read those books. Um, if you just want to enjoy good comic book storytelling, um, you have to read those. Like that's like, if I was teaching a comics course, that would be required reading. The hardcover looks absolutely gorgeous. It is gorgeous. This is beautiful, just beautiful. And I can't. It's so heavy I can barely hold it up here. But here's Alex Ross painting of Captain America. Just look at that. And so, if you're not familiar, um, Earth X takes place sort of in a futuristic version of the Marvel universe. But like if the Marvel characters had aged. So what's really cool is about this edition is that the colorist John Paul Leon Alex Ross and Jim Kruger. These are signed. These are signed editions of this book. So I have a signed edition um, of Earth X. So that was another just incredible find that you know, all 6,000 of these were signed. So it's not like this is special because it was signed, but to find this hardcover somewhere and, um, you know, out of 6,000 copies in the world and find it, in St. Louis, Missouri. I mean, that it's, what are the odds? What are the odds of that? It's dedicated to Alan Moore. And so what's special about this, not only are the signatures, but also that it is completely black and white. So you just see John Paul Leon's inks, pencils and inks. This is how he wanted it. He requested this edition be black and white with no colors. Um, Absolutely just breathtaking artwork. Oh, that fell out. So this was I didn't want to buy this unless it came with everything it originally was supposed to. So it comes with this fold out poster. And also comes with a CD soundtrack for the comic that, excuse me, that I believe you're supposed to listen to as you're reading the comic. I'm going to put this poster back. Let's get that in there. I wanted to let everyone know too that if you saw Eternals and the I don't want to spoil it, but a big major plot point in Eternals, this is where it comes from, the movie Eternals. So MCU's Eternals, it steals from Earth X. This a huge plot point in this book um, is taken for the film, which I will just say I really loved Eternals. It was really good, guys. Don't listen to the critics. It is a different kind of MCU film. That's what I liked about it. Maybe upon a second viewing, I may not enjoy it as much. But just the first viewing and what I got from it, that movie did things that no other Marvel movie has done in terms of going places with characters and making me feel things that I hadn't felt. So if you're skeptical about Eternals, it's going to be, I think, on Disney Plus soon. I think January 12th, I think. So, definitely watch Eternals. All right, got that out of the way. Wanted to share that with everyone because that was something that uh, was just a cool find. As a collector, as someone who loves comics, to find that of like your favorite story, and that there's this edition that I had no idea existed. I didn't know it was something that was made. So that was just awesome. Also, I found Super Gods by Grant Morrison at that same half price books. I've been wanting to read this. I read the introduction that he did for it. I haven't really gotten too far into it at all. But this is a book that I'm really interested in reading. Grant Morrison is on record as being one of the most acclaimed comic book writers, but also one of those people that dislikes Watchmen a lot. And that's really strange hearing from a professional comic book writer. So I really am interested to read his opinions on Watchmen and to read what he doesn't like about it. So if you're interested, this is like not necessarily a biography, but him talking about comics and the history of comics and sort of a their impact on the world. Let's see here. I wanted to talk about, let's see, this book here. All right, Cruel Summer by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. Guys, I read this in one sitting, and this is a huge book. Um, I'm a huge fan of Ed Brubaker from his Captain America run. Also other Marvel stuff that he'd done. Velvet, Fatale, The Fade Out, Killer Be Killed, other books that he's done, Criminal, which I've read, I think the first couple volumes, but I didn't keep up with it. This is a part of the Criminal like universe or, criminal characters. I didn't really know that going into it, but just reading it and reading it from start to finish, this is one of those comics that you can't put down because you're just on the edge of your seat. You are literally on the edge of your seat reading this book. It takes place in the 80s. It looks at a father and son and their life of crime, um, and the infighting of the father and son, and um, it, there's this detective in it that is super cool. One of my favorite characters in comics that I've read. Like really memorable characters, really great, intriguing dialogue. It keeps you guessing. It keeps you on the edge of your seat again. Um, you know, these characters aren't safe. They could die at any point, and you're not prepared for what happens in this book. There's a lot of I really feel this book. When I read it, I really felt the weight of what these characters were going through and the amount of pressure that was on the kid character, and just the uncertainty of uh, the path that he's taking, what that means for him. But out of all of the, let's see here, show one of my favorite, show some art here. Out of all of the books that Brubaker and Phillips have done, All My Heroes Are Junkies and um, Bad Weekend and Pulp. This is my favorite. This is my favorite one that I've read. Um, and I wasn't expecting this at all. I wasn't expecting to read this and be completely floored by it. This is a highlight of the year. This is one of the best comics I read this year. And I think it came out in 2019. I think it's like 2 years old. But go pick up Cruel Summer at your local comic book shop. If you like noir, um, crime thrillers, uh, you will really enjoy this, even if you don't. I think this is one of those comics that if you don't enjoy that stuff, this will make you enjoy it, because I'm not a huge noir fan. I mean, well, it's not that I'm not. It's more so I haven't read a lot of comics that, I'm into that genre. I really like it. I like that, but sometimes I feel like, oh, I know what I'm getting. And if you like that stuff, you really like it. But I kind of like finding different things, and I'm more of a superhero type of. Uh, that's what I take in and what I'm really interested in superhero comics more so. But also, weird stuff too. But this is a very down to earth crime thriller story, and by the end of it, my jaw had dropped like throughout this book, but I couldn't believe how it ended, and it had such a strong, such strong characters, and Brubaker just Ed Brubaker's run on Captain America got me into comic books, and reading this reminded me, you know, how I could get into comics and never look back, and this was a big part of that. Like feeling that again, wanting to read more of Brubaker stuff, but also remembering just how powerful comics can be in storytelling uh, terms, in storytelling terms. Also, something I just read recently that I finished a couple days ago. If you guys haven't, please subscribe to Cartoonist Kayfabe on YouTube. At Piscore, Jim Rugg, Tom Sholey. Um, those guys, show off a lot of great comics, and they're comic book creators themselves. And they're really cool guys to listen to. and talk about the creative process in different comics and their history with comics. And just, I mean, you can eat it up. It's binge worthy. You can just have it on in your home and just, have a playlist going on, and they talk about different books. But um I picked up Street Angel by Jim Rugg, who's one of the hosts of Cartoonist Kayfabe. Um, I wanted to read this because I wanted to see what kind of stuff he did, and I just kind of went out on a limb, and I was like, "Let me try this out," because I really like hearing him talk about comics, and he seems like someone that would be really fun to get along with and really fun to talk to. And um, so Street Angel follows this girl named Jessie, who is this homeless, uh, you know, small girl. She's probably like, I think she's maybe 11 or 12, somewhere around there, really young. She's homeless. But she is like, she has skills, guys. She has like ninja skills. And she is super cool, and she fights like aliens and gangs and bullies at school, and um, little shrunken ninjas that go into her body. um, and the series is this story, this character, what this is was so much fun. I laughed out loud so much, and it was just like just a great time. Like, there's also a Christmas special in here where she meets Santa Claus. Get I'm trying to just show this off real quick, but get this. If you see this at your local comic book store, you're gonna have so much fun. I love the art. I loved Jesse. I loved just how weird and fun and different this was. This is different from anything else that I've read. Um, which I love branching out. I love reading something different. And uh, the characters that are in this book are just so funny, and there's so many great jokes. And you can tell Jim Rugg has like a really good sense of like being a cartoonist, and bringing comedy back to comics, and or not back to comics, but just doing comedy well. I loved basically everything about this, and uh, they're just fun adventures. I haven't had this much fun with the comic in a long time, but it's this and then Shapes by Jason Brubaker, that was published by Cave Pictures Publishing. Those are like two of the most fun comics that I've read this year, and so definitely check out Street Angel. Um, Look at this. This is so cool. Like, she's fighting this bully at school, and the way the fight goes down, the way it's rendered visually is just really amazing. So read Street Angel, go buy Street Angel. Also, I'm not going to show this one off because it's pretty gruesome. I still need to read it too. But Red Room by Ed Piskor, he's also a cartoonist kayfabe host. Him and Jim Rugg do that YouTube channel along with Tom Sholey. So, um, uh, which reminds me, Jim Rugg is going to be doing Hulk Grand Design, which was just announced, and I'm going to be there for that book. I'm so excited for him to do that. Definitely a fan of his now after reading Street Angel. So check out that book. All right, getting down to the last pile of things I wanted to show off in terms of comics for this year that I enjoyed. This was a really special, not really a find, but an offer that I received to get this, and I pulled the trigger and went for it. Uh, Iron Man number 178, the Demon in the Bottle issue. This is like in near mint condition, basically. I bought this from a friend. He was selling some of his comics, and he offered this to me, and I think this got over like 200 likes on Twitter when I shared this. So I just kind of wanted to share it off and show people that this was a great gift that I bought myself this year. I've always wanted this comic with this cover, so it felt really good to finally own this. Um, this is a really bittersweet kind of find, not find, but um, so these are Inhumans issues 1 through 3. I think the second volume of Inhumans, um, uh, written by Doug Minch. I think that's how you pronounce his name, and art by George Perez. And this is a really I'm not going to talk about it because it's really hard to talk about. But if you don't know the news about George Perez, look at it, look it up, and see he's what he's going through right now. But I got these about a month or two ago. Um, an older guy, a friend of mine, um, wanted to show me his comic book collection, and these were in it, and these were gifts that he gave me. And so, really, really great gift, really great guy. Frank, if you're watching this, thank you so much for these gifts here. Um, but they mean even much more now, just in light of what George Perez is going through. I'm really gonna, treasure these, and uh, it's heartbreaking what's going on with him right now. Um, and I just my heart goes out to him and his family, and um, George Perez is a legend in comics, and I didn't even know he worked on Inhumans. So this was, really cool to find out that he did work on Inhumans, and that he did, some Marvel stuff that I hadn't really known about, because he's mostly known for his DC work with Teen Titans and Crisis on Infinite Earths, and uh, other books like that. So this was something that I'm really looking forward to digging into. Let's see. I read this series. Let's see here. Got them all. Okay. Time Before Time. This is the first story arc by Declan Shelby. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And I think Richard McConville. Uh, and this is a book that Image is putting out right now. Time Before Time. I recommend it if you like time travel stories. Um, or it's a really neat premise. So the premise is, what if you could smuggle people through time? And so, like, if a family wants to leave, you know 2140, and they want to go back and live in the, like, 1950s or 1980s, there's a corporation called the Syndicate that can do that, that can take you from the future or to the past. And This was a really good, first story arc. And if you like time travel stories, sci-fi, espionage, you'll like Time Before Time. So this has been a highlight of something that I started to read and I've really enjoyed. Also, some older comics again. I wanted to point out, I've been getting into Silver Surfer recently, and this was a find that I picked up at my local comic shop. Silver Surfer Annual #1. I think it's an annual, or just like the second series, but it was only one issue that John Byrne did, which Stan Lee wrote it, or did the dialogue at least. John Byrne did the plot and all the art. Um, and it was an amazing issue. He fights Mephisto in this. And I loved this issue. I've been getting into Silver Surfer more, so this was really good. I also finally read Silver Surfer Parable by Stan Lee and Mobius, um, and so this was really cool to, like, find these single issues. I sort of knew the story already, but I hadn't. Sat down and read it for myself and really kind of took my time with it. So I think I might have rented it from the library when I was a kid or something, in a hardcover graphic novel. But it was really cool to finally sit down and read those two stories. Speaking of Eternals, this is something I picked up. If I can get all the issues here. I picked up this 1 through 12 limited series that came out. This was, I think, the second volume of the Eternals. This has the first appearance of Fastos. And so I picked this up. My LCS had all 12 issues. So this was really fun to pick up. I haven't started reading it yet, but I'm looking forward. I'm definitely an Eternals fan right now, and I want to read more about the characters and learn more about them. And I want to read the new Eternals run that Kieran Gillen's doing and Assad Ribbick's doing together. That looks like it's really good. So I'm excited to get into this too. Hey Ace, thanks for tuning in. I'm just going over comics that I've read or comics that I'm excited to read. Things that I've picked up over the last few months that I haven't been doing live streams or uh, doing videos on my YouTube channel. Just kind of catching everyone up on what I've been doing. So thanks for tuning in. I'm going to wrap up soon, but I do have a few things just more to mention when it comes to comics that I've been reading. So I wanted to mention everyone pick up The Thing by Walter Mosley and Tom Riley. And the reason why I want you guys to pick this up is not only is The Thing and the Fantastic Four like awesome characters, but Tom Riley is one of the variant cover artists for Man Child issue one, and he is working on this series right now with Marvel Comics. So the cover with Professor Pilgrim and um, the Monarch Crier fighting outside of Rufus's home while Rufus is going to the bathroom reading a comic book. He's the one who did that cover. Well, he's doing this series right now over at Marvel Comics. And I'm really excited about this. And so please pick this up and, support Tom Riley and his work because I love his work and I'm excited to see where the series goes. And he not only did this cover, but the interiors as well. So also Human Target. You guys don't even know how I'm excited for this, like how bad I am excited for this. So I read this first issue. I love Smallwood so much. He's an incredible artist. Greg Smallwood is just like the best. And I'm a huge Tom King fan as well. I like how he doesn't write normal comic book stories, and he takes kind of lesser known characters and does stuff with them. And this was a great first issue. I loved it. Very strong first issue for so many reasons. And I may actually do an Art of Writing Comics episode on Human Target number one. We'll see. I still have a lot of other comics in the pipeline for that series for my YouTube channel. So check this out. If you love Smallwood, um, you should buy it instantly. If you like Tom King, of course, buy it. But um, if you don't like either of those creators, still pick this up because it's good. um, then let's see here. I wanted to talk about this will be the last comic I talk about. Moths by J. Michael Straczynski and Mike Choi. Or I think it's Choi. Yeah. Um, this is the final issue. Issues 1 through 6 are out. They're out there. The entire story's done. But this was one of the most life affirming, beautiful, poignant, uh, tender, um, interesting female character stories that I've read that I really enjoyed. And it's J. Michael Straczynski at his best. at least in terms of his ability to bring out a character that you really care for and feel for, and that you don't want to see go at all. And what's interesting about this? So this is published by AWA Upshot, um, and really check out all their stuff that they're doing, but especially the stuff that JMS is doing over there with Moz, the Resistance, Telepaths. Um, but especially with Moz because this was a really beautiful story, and the premise for this is um, there are these superpowered beings in this universe, um, on the world on our Earth, but in this AWA upshot kind of superhero universe. But there are beings. They're called Moz because um, once they reveal their abilities, they only have 6 months to live. And so in that amount of time, you follow this lady, this girl, for 6 months. Of her life, and kind of dealing with her mortality, and but living out her life to the fullest in those 6 months, and how beautiful life can be in a short amount of time we have. And it really puts into perspective just how short life is, and how beautiful it is, and how tragic it is. And I highly enjoyed this series. So please read Moths and support what JMS is doing over at AWA Upshot. That's like a publisher that I'm really excited about. I think more so than other indie publishers that say they're like building a superhero universe, like maybe like Valiant. I don't have anything against Valiant or other publishers like Boom or people that are trying to create superhero universes, but I think um, AWA Upshot Studios is doing it in a very professional way. They're really working with great creators and people that you know from other Marvel and DC titles, and so it feels like they have their act together. And Axel Alonso is like the um, I don't know, like CEO, or at least the top guy, editor in chief. At AWA, and he did some really great stuff over at Marvel when I was reading Marvel. So I'm still reading Marvel, but I mean, like, that's sort of the era that I was really getting into, like Marvel, with like Avengers versus X-Men, and the Joe Quesada era too, and Axel Alonso coming along afterwards. But um, yeah, I mean, a lot of great comics out there, a lot of great stuff that's been going on this year for 2021, and really exciting stuff that I've been able to read and able to pick up this year. I've created a backlog of reading for myself that I do not enjoy having to look at the amount of comics that I have to read. I'm looking at them right now, and I'm like, oh man. But it's the joy of it, when you're in the mood for a certain storyline, you can just pick that up. Sometimes I feel like I have my own shop because I'm looking at stuff that I forgot I had, and I'm like, oh, I own this. Like, I can read this now. Um, and I forgot I had this. So that's a problem I'm dealing with and trying to catch up with the comics that I've read. But yeah, guys, I think for the most part, I covered everything that I wanted to talk about tonight. Um, I've gone longer than I thought I would, so thanks for everyone for tuning in and bearing with me. If you didn't um, catch it, catch the beginning of the stream where I lay out some things. But it's been a very busy few months for me, fulfilling but stressful, satisfying, but a lot of things getting in the way. Just life gets in the way here and there, but you got to keep up the good work, and you have to um, you know. Uh, do what you can and put out what you can. And I just wanted to let everyone know and remind everyone that I'm still here. I'm still making comics. I'm really excited for Manchild and for all the other books I'm working on, the things I'm working on, the stories I'm working on, the people I'm working with. and I want to keep up this YouTube channel. And so as we get into the next year, I want to keep up the Art of Writing Comics episodes. I want to keep doing that. Um, and hopefully the comic book writers room, those live streams, and also um, doing streams, just updating people on progress for my books, like this one tonight, and doing fun little topic videos that I want to do. So if there's anything you want to see me do, anything you think that my channel needs, or things you'd like me to do, you know, let me know. And like, what do you want to see me do? What are things you want me to talk about, or things you'd enjoy seeing from my channel, or seeing a writer creator do? That would mean a lot to me for sure. Very familiar problem. I have about 80 series I'm supposed to be reading. Oops. Yeah, I know. It really is, really feels that way. And you start out with the first volume of something, and you really enjoy it, but then and maybe you still have it on your pull list and you keep getting the issues, but like they just keep piling and piling up, and you're like, "Oh, I really enjoy that. Like, why haven't I kept up with it?" And then there are just other things that catch your eye, and you get in the mood for a different kind of genre, or type of storytelling. And um, that's how it is for me, where I'm starting to jump to different things, because I'm getting bored, like, more easily with certain um, storylines. It's like I need to keep myself fresh, keep things fresh for me, and so I want to like jump to different characters and different stories, because it keeps it nice and vibrant. Like, I'm always like being introduced to new characters, and a new type of, for me, new styles of writing, and trying to absorb all that. But thank you guys for tuning in, and thanks for hanging out with me for the last hour and a half. Man Child issue 1 is coming along. We're going to be working on Seasons Volume 3 soon. Um, uh, it's been a crazy time with everything going on in the world. Um, and, uh, a crazy time for, um, you know, my life and me personally, but also just the world in general. See, Ace says, I don't tend to read big two series, but Man Vol has been killing it this year. Every series has been a 10 out of 10. I need to read Vault. I really do need to read Vault. Send me some titles, or like some recommendations my way. I'd love to read more from them, because I've heard they've been doing some really good stuff. Thank you, Ace. Yeah, you have a great day too. Thanks for tuning in. Um, and thanks for catching the show, and for commenting, and being in the chat. It means a lot to me. Um, but yeah, so a lot of good things ahead. A lot of things that I'm excited about. A lot of things that have happened in the last couple months, with Lifeline winning the Best Comic Award from Indie Vault, and me winning Best Writer. Having an article in the paper of me. Um, doing these signings. Working on Manchild, fulfilling all of Seasons, moving, all that stuff has been going on the last couple months. So I've been working really hard, finishing writing Manchild, uh, my band, our album coming out. So just a lot of stuff in the last couple of months. And it's been a crazy year, that's for sure. Um, but I'm looking forward to 2022. And I hope everyone, before I go, have a Merry Christmas, have a Happy New Year. This will probably be my last video I do, for this year, at least for the foreseeable future. Right now, I'm going to be trying to hit it hard in January. Having streams, or at least putting out videos. I'd like to get back to that. Um, oh, hey, we got a list here. Thank you so much. See, Barbaric, Bleed the Dry, Blue Flame, Cult Classic, The Devil's Red Bride, Finger Guns, Heathen Heavy, the last book you'll ever read, Money Shot, The Plot, Wasted Space, and Stare on the Royal Stars are my favorite. Okay. Well, I'll look at those first then. I'll try those out. I'll definitely try those out. Thank you, Ace. Thanks for recommending those. But yeah, everyone have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. I'll still be making comics. If you want to check in to see what I'm doing, just message me. You can contact me through my email. Go to seasonsthecomicbook.com. Um, you can message me on Twitter, DM me on Twitter, Facebook, um, here on YouTube, comment. Let me know what you guys are up to. Keep in contact for sure. Sorry, I've been kind of MIA the last couple months, but I have been working just behind the scenes mostly and kind of getting everything kind of squared away that I haven't been really announcing much that's been going on. But I am working on a new story. I am writing still, and I'm making comics, and I'm doing what I love and trying to balance life and all this stuff. So, uh, yeah, I'm gonna keep on doing that. And the signing today at one of my local comic book stores was really encouraging, a lot of fun. I made some good money, so that really helps. And if you like what I create, if you like what I make, please share it. Please share my stuff out. Contact me if you want a book, if you want Lifeline or Seasons. These would make great gifts for people. And if you want to support an indie creator who loves what he does, but also believes in what he's doing and thinks he's making really quality books, which I think other people have spoken for me in that and my ability to write really, quality work. And then, being an award-winning comic book writer now, which is really great. It feels really good to have that attached to my name. So, thank you guys for tuning in. And thank you guys. Hope everyone has a good night. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and definitely keep in touch with me. And I will do my best to update everyone going forward. So, hope you guys, you know, do well and stay healthy. And love you guys. And thank you so much.